joined us in studio this morning. So a big thank you, Mr. Kleynhans, for your time this morning, sir.
It's a pleasure.
Now, in terms of a successful business, they say every successful business has a good, firm foundation. What are some of the things we need to look at to set that up?
Yes, I get this past week, I've had more emails on this theme than I've ever had before. And I don't quite understand why. There's no reason why, but this is it. And when I have these conversations, I ask a set of questions. And so if you're planning a business, you may find some of these questions helpful. And the first issue that I have is, what is it you're actually wanting to do with your business? Because a lot of people can't define what they're wanting to do in 9 or 10 words. And if you can't and you're that vague, then you're going to be vague in your business plan. And that's going to create problems later. So what is it you're really wanting to do? And then I ask them to define who their customers or their clients are. And again, I'm surprised how often people start their business without knowing who the customer or the client is going to be. You cannot have your client or your customer only those people who live in your street are going to come and buy your koeksisters. That's not a viable business. You need to be a little more clear on that. Why should they bring their business to you? What is it you're going to offer that is different? Where's the value in what you're going to offer? Now, this sounds like a coaching exercise, and that is actually where the problem lies. Too many people start their business, they've never run a business before, and they didn't understand what is going to be involved. And they only discover that after they've spent a lot of their money. Then I ask another question, which is an awkward one. What makes you think you're skilled to carry out that business?
Ooh.
Now, that's not a question to mock or anything. It's to, what preparation have you done? That's really what I'm trying to get working on, that one. So if you haven't sorted out what it is you're actually trying to do and why you can do it and why people are going to come to you and what the skill set is that you have, then the next question becomes critical. You may be a good business person, but you may need help in what it is you're actually doing. Who is going to then help? Who's going to fill that particular gap? And even on silly things, people tell me they want to start their own business, but they admit they're the most disorganized person on the planet. That doesn't mean you can't run your business.
Okay.
It just means your PA better be organized.
Okay.
And that
Good
means
point.
you're going to have to find a PA who's organized with that you can trust with your life, because they're going to have to help keep you online. I then think it's important that you understand your competition. What is it the competition does, and what can you do to outpace your competition? Then ask a couple of other questions. Who's going to be your tax practitioner? And often I get a blank look. If you don't sort out the tax now, you're going to end up with the wrong business entity. And if you sort out the wrong business entity, it's going to cost you money later. Then you need to know who's going to be your bookkeeper. People admit to me they started their business, and the bookkeeping system is hundreds of sheets of paper.
Okay.
That's
not
fine
bookkeeping.
until you lose the bookkeeping.
Yeah, exactly.
Then that becomes a problem. Who's going to be your human resources practitioner? Because if you're going to employ people, there has to be some kind of contract. And if you don't have a contract, and then there is a fight at the CCMA, you are going to lose.
Oh, and it's going to cost you money.
It's going to cost you money. So you do need to have somebody who at least knows enough to help put a contract in place between you and your staff, because there are certain minimums that have got to be paid. There are certain days, holidays, all kinds of things that you don't know, and later can come back to bite you. And then how which associations they're going to belong to, which networks they're going to have. Because if you're running your own business, it helps every now and then for you to be with a group of people and hear what their experiences are. It makes your life easier, makes your life less lonely. Then the other one, which I find, what legal structure are you going to use? I don't understand why people run off, get a company registered with a CCMA, get all that work done. With the legal, various legal bodies.
Yeah.
And then they get their company registered. And then later we find out it would have been better for them to work as a sole proprietor for the first year while they get their lives together. It's cheaper. Because if you've got to go through all those legal regulations every year, it's going to cost you a few $1,000. If you're working as an individual for the first year, you can still have a name, and all you later do is register that name, and then it becomes a PTY Limited.
Okay.
So it's a way of stopping yourself wasting a lot of money in the beginning. How much capital are you going to need? Do you know that? And how long is that capital likely to last? So I'm not saying you've got to have enough capital for the first 12 months, but you do need to know that you're not going to start your business, be able to have all the capital you need, pay your staff, and draw a salary in the first month. It's not likely to happen that way.
Yeah.
And then lastly, which accounting package? And I bring that one up a second time because that accounting package is very important. That's how you're later going to know what kind of cash flow you need, what your markup's going to be. All of that is dependent on your bookkeeping skills. And it's better to use one of the packages that are available. And the package must be online. Don't have a package that's sitting on your laptop, which then gets stolen, and then you've lost all your documents.
Of course.
So it's a lot of preparation to be done, but I'm certainly committed to running businesses, and I think it's an excellent way of becoming independent.
That is brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Nico. And I think it's just so incredible. You know, a lot of people say, but aren't you just shooting holes in my business? And no, we're testing the solidity of the plan.
You have a choice. You don't need to hear these questions, but then you're going to still discover them at the wrong time.
Yes.
And then you're going to end up, it's going to cost you a lot more.
Yeah.
All we're doing now is saying, this is what's in that room. You haven't switched on the light yet.
Brilliant.
Make sure you understand that.
Fantastic. Nico Kleynhans, really appreciate your time and your expertise. Thank you for chatting to us this morning and giving us some lots to think about. I really appreciate it, sir.
Sure.